Well, let's try this again. See if anybody even gets a notification. Oh, my name is nobody's in here. Okay, so somebody got it. Somebody got it. I don't know exactly what just happened. Let me go to my channel here. Make sure that's okay. Well, I don't know, but that was weird. My internet just totally everything kaput. Never had that happen before, and then my computer went just absolutely haywire, which have never happened before. So I don't know if I got hacked or like cyber attacked or what, but I've never ever had that. My computer's never done that before. Like I've had this computer for and been using it for 4 years now, and it's like had my nephew deck it out with all the latest stuff. Got that fiber optic internet. No idea, but I just got freaking completely wiped out. Reset everything, and it still didn't work. So I just had to wait. Just had to wait. Now I lost my groove. Do I start all over? Or do I just continue where I left off? What do I do? Give me a vote. Start over, continue where we left off. I think we were talking about spending. I don't know. But at any rate, let me put my poll back up. Ah, that's what she said. How do I do that? I don't even know where we were at on the poll, so we got to start the poll all over. DIY shimmy. There's that. Here we go. Start a poll. Will Trump save trucking? Yes or no? There we go. The poll's back up. You can vote again. Like much like last night. Vote often. Yeah, I told my wife started talking about Trump and bang down. She's like, go figure. So here we go. Anyway, let's get back into what we were talking about. And once again, we're not playing sides. We're not getting involved. We're not taking part in the hype. We're just laying out the case of how we got here, what needs to happen, and what we can do to get back on track. Right. So let's just touch back on what we talked about because some people won't catch that first stream. They'll only catch this one. We were talking about how we got here, what we're going to do. First thing we were going to talk about is inflation and interest rates and kind of how it works, what you need to do to get out of it, how the problem is kind of a no-win situation. Okay, so we're talking about interest rates up and down to manipulate the velocity of money, right, to fix inflation, and then government spending. That's where we got uh, cyber attacked or whatever the hell happened there, and we may. I was talking about this problem is too big for one person with the spending portion of it. Okay. For the first time in history, we may see that addressed. Trump is Trump. He's going to do what he's going to do. What I'm excited about, then let's be honest. Election season's a whole lot of promises get made that will never come true. They were never supposed to come true. They were just supposed to get people to vote one way or another. Both sides. They all do this. Let's be honest. Call it what it is. People lie. Okay. One thing that was said that if it would come true would be the first time in history and it could change the course of the country. And that's if we really do get an Elon Musk as the chairman of Department of Government Efficiency. And if he's allowed to do what he does, like he did with Twitter. You come in and you cut the fat to the bone, right? This could fix that part of inflation that has never been addressed, and which is government spending. Just it's above and beyond reproach. Okay. Will that happen? Probably not. Just because Trump promised it and said he wants it to happen, the establishment is not going to want that to happen. Okay. Lockheed Martin is not going to want that to happen. Raytheon is not going to want that to happen. Halliburton is not going to want that to happen. 90% of Congress is not going to want that to happen. Okay. I'm excited about that singular thing, even the possibility of it. Okay, that can change things, uh, and the fact that it can change things and would change things leads me to leave it would probably never happen. All right. So that's the first thing about trucking is the inflation and the interest rates. I encourage you to go back and watch that live stream. I just got booted off. We got into it. Blah blah blah. I'm over it. All right. I talked about a live stream I did about 2 years ago, laying out the effects of the policies that we're going to put in place and what was going to happen over the next 2 years. One thing, and freaking nailed it on this one, and hopefully this changes, is for the last 3+ years, we have had a very hostile labor market. And when I say that, I mean the relationship between business and labor. Okay. Look how many protests, strikes, uh, organization efforts. Now you can make the case for whatever you want. If wages need to be higher, businesses are screwing their employees. We're not talking about any of that. We're only talking about the relationship between business and labor. And I said it would be a very tumultuous, hostile labor market, and you would see a lot of protesting, a lot of strikes, and actually businesses going out of business due to their inability to resolve their issues with their labor force. And it happened. It happened a lot. Um, largely yellow trucking. We've seen uh, multiple situations even before the current threat of a port strike. We had one earlier. Um, in the retail, you've seen hostility in the retail market where retail workers want to organize and unionize and $20 minimum wages and all this. If you look back over the last several years, we definitely had that. Now, if we can get this, put policies in place to get businesses confident in spending, that's part of the problem with this inflation and the interest rates is you've made it difficult for businesses to spend money. To spend money, they need to borrow money. They need to have access to money and they have to have confidence. In this economic environment, that's not going to happen. Employees get caught in the middle of that between the business and the consumer or the product end user. Employees are dead square in the middle of it. So employees that are upset with their wages situation, they immediately turn to their employer and have it out with them. They ought to look above and beyond the employer and see what made the market this way. Okay. Businesses have largely been scared over the last several years or haven't even been able to afford to borrow money. Uh, and when they do have to borrow money, it's at an increased rate, and that filters down to the consumer in higher prices, in which then they have to cut employees, right? It's a vicious cycle. So that whole thing can be addressed. How do you do that? Uh, Largely improve the jobs market. Improve the jobs market. We have been fed a host of lies, of numbers for the last few years. We always have, we always will be. Don't get me wrong. Trump's not going to come in and suddenly everything's going to be honest. It's just not how government works. You have to understand the nature of government, right? They're not in business to tell the truth largely. So you're still going to get misleading numbers, but I don't care about that. Like I said, I care about policy. We want business friendly policies in place, right? So if we can reverse some of these policies hostile to energy and hostile to peace, whatever, it's good for business. We could, if we reverse some of the policies hostile to oil, we could see many jobs created quickly. If we decide we can reopen these pipelines, a lot of jobs will be created. Okay. Um, it's all about getting money moving again, right? Money needs to move, and how do you do that? Mostly through manipulation of interest rates. So, but once again, you're going to re-trigger inflation. So we need businesses to spend money. You're going to see You're going to see some of that happen between now and January. Just the election alone is going to give some bigger businesses the confidence to say help is on the way, and we're going to start positioning ourselves for a rebound and be a part of the recovery. And they'll start spending money as a byproduct of that. So, other than that, it's not going to happen quickly. You don't want anything to happen quickly because you're going to get a rebound effect. And we've all seen the consequences of that, right? These things take time. Now, here is a point of contention, and half the people are going to hate this, half the people are going to like it. Immigration and trucking and refugees. Um, Merely an observation is for the first time in my lifetime, we had a 4-year period where we had no new wars. I liked that. That was good. That's what peace through strength is all about, right? But then they have to mean it and actually do it. And that was kind of an interesting time. Since then, we've had multiple new wars. And what happens when we have these? We bring in tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of quote unquote refugees, right? And guess where they all go to work? They all go to work in trucking, right? So it's just an ancillary way that peace and no new wars can help trucking. If you're not bringing in 10,000 Ukrainian refugees a month, guess where all the men are going to work? Guess. Where do you think all these Chicago type companies came from? Where do you think Super Ego and all these companies got a host of their workforce? Right? Because it translates so easy. It's a very similar job, probably, to what you could have done in your home country. Right? And if we're not having all these refugees, are we going to have that influx of, uh, let's call it what it is, darn near slave labor into trucking? Because they can take these people who, if they had to adjust to labor in the United States, they couldn't make nearly what they do in trucking. So they go into trucking because that's the job that'll pay them the most without them having to, one, go learn English, go learn, a marketable skill in the United States. So you can take your average citizen, put them to work in trucking, and make a great living for them and their family. Okay. But the employer knows that. So they can take them and pay them very little and take full advantage of that. All right. And then along with that, the refugee thing is the immigration situation. And we all know that. We all have segments of the country, right? We have Chicago is the Eastern European, segment of immigration with the Russians, Ukrainians. We have Detroit, where it's largely a Islamic section, Dearborn and Hamtramck, along with Bakersfield, California. You have Minneapolis is largely Somalian. I met a guy from Oklahoma City the other day. He said down there it's largely Ethiopian, in the trucking. So we have all these segments here, and all these people come under different circumstances. I would I would look for a lot of that to change. So um, is Trump going to come in and say, oh, freight rates are now going to be this, right? We're going to set the freight rates. We're going to fix these. They're shady. No, none of that's going to happen. He's not going to come in and crack down on brokers. He's not going to come in and get rid of ELDs. We've already shown that. Not going to. Freight will adjust because businesses are going to spend money, and it's going to get money moving. The velocity of money is going to pick up, which makes freight move. Okay. And then there could be some byproduct of some of the policies that change the labor market in trucking. Um, that's going to be a tough one, though. I'll be honest with you. That's going to be a tough one to address because they're already here. They're already here. Um, so, is anything directly going to be addressed in trucking? Absolutely not. The only thing I could possibly see happening is if some EPA regulations get repealed or adjusted. And I highly doubt that's going to happen because that didn't happen before. They didn't stop EGR, DPF, DEF. Not all of this was under that administration, but ELDs were, right? Hours of service. We did anything about hours of service. So all of these things that we care about, they're not. Nobody's going to change that. It's not going to be addressed. They're not going to come in and say we're going to crack down on this detention issue. They'll give us lip service over the parking thing like they always do. That we're going to build more parking. Well, it doesn't freaking matter because as you build it, it goes away. And you're never going to have it in the right spot. And most of it'll probably be eventually be paid. Oh, thank you guys for the super chats. This is crazy. Adam Bennett, $50 super chat. Heck yeah. DIY semi can save trucking. I don't know about all that. Don't know about all that. Adam Bennett, $5. Hashtag cancel fate trucking. Damn it. Well, that was Adam Bennett also. Adam Bennett could save trucking. So back to the topic. Well, let's see where the poll is at. Where is my poll? Did I start the poll? Yeah, there we go. Why can't I see it? Come on, YouTube. 60% say yes, Trump will save trucking. 40% say no. Go ahead and vote. Go ahead and vote. If you didn't vote last night, vote today. Vote for me. That's all I can say. What we're looking for, folks, is policies that are business friendly and we benefit from it directly and indirectly. All right. My name is nobody. Let's see who's here. Joe Little, ELD came out of the Bush administration. Yes, but there was what I'm getting at, Joe, is that was an issue that was readdressed by FMCSA under Trump. So they did have it was up for a decision is if they could repeal it or not. They did re-raise the issue. I know I realize it was passed earlier. Well, there you go. Stocked up on antigel, fuelox.com. Use code DIY Semi, save 15% on every order. Definitely do that. Bernie Sands in the house. How you been? Ain't seen a Bernie Sands in a while. Jersey Trucker in the house. Jerome Jones. Bernie Sands says ready for some of that Trump money. Okay. Jersey Trucker says your computer is mad. Trump won. LOL. Continue the class. Okay. SK buffet back in every truck stop. I was talking about that with a friend of mine the other day. That buffets have gone away mostly in truck stops with the restaurants going away, and they're all proud of themselves. Well, we're going to present some healthier options. Well, guess what? You can't afford them. Number one, and number two, do you know how badly I just love to go and sit and have a salad bar again, like in a truck stop? That's a lot of times what I used to do is just go in and have soup and salad bar. I really miss that. And now I find that I eat more junk than ever when I'm on the road because the cheap stuff is all junk and that's all you can afford. And number two, it's you got to go because that clock is ticking, right? I don't. Carl Thor, too many drivers chasing too few loads until that number changes. I don't care who is in. Well, you can address that too few loads part by some policies of getting businesses spending money again, right? Uh, Addressing the inflation issue so people can afford to pay their bills and start buying things again. All right. It would be nice if this administration would start making the FMC enforce its own laws on reading, speaking English for CDL holders. That's going to go away. I talked to the FMCSA directly about that when an FMCSA agent, and he said, we have been told not to enforce it. So look for that law to just completely go away, sadly. Now, what we could do is if shippers and receivers had any balls, they would stand up and say, you speak English while you're here because, we have multiple forms of dangerous chemicals in this place. And if we have a spill or whatever, you need to understand what the hell we're telling you to do. It's a safety issue. If Elon done that and the establishment stayed whining about jobs, he could tell them what Biden told the pipeline workers when he shut it down and laid them off. Yeah, exactly. Mark the Mailman, welcome back. Missed your videos. That was such great content. Great to have you back. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Employees are screwing their employers. There's plenty of it to go around. I'm not picking both sides, and I understand they get mad at each other, but really, who's to blame is usually the government. A lot of times, uh, democracy died last night. Mm, what happened to it? What happened to it, Michael Dennis? But will Elon gut the EPA? He has been beneficiary of their war on CO2. Here's the thing with that. If that's a good point in a complicated situation. Okay. If they do put him in that position, I would like to see him have to divulge himself of interests of his businesses, like a president does before he takes the reins. Now we all know, wink, wink, how that happens, right? You pass it down to your kids or whatever. But I think that he needs to divulge his interests and separate himself from his business if he's going to take on those roles that they're putting him in. It's a conflict of interest. But let's be honest, they're all they all have a massive conflict of interest. You don't go in making $160,000 a year and come out worth 120 million by doing things on the up and up. I'm very curious to see what Elon and RFK decide to do in this administration. I am I am truthfully more interested in that, and the cabinet positions, the advisors, the different roles that people will be in. I'm as much as we already know what Trump is. He was president. We already know about that, right? And think what you want, good or bad. We haven't had we haven't had an RFK as I'd like to see him as Surgeon General or something like that. You know, I don't necessarily want him in the environmental stuff. I disagree with a lot of his stuff there. Not all of it. He's got some great ideas, but I think that's going to be interesting. And like I said, if Elon really does get put in that position, I don't know why he would want it, but I heard a great quote the other day, and somebody said, "I would sooner go with the man who gave up his money for the country than the man who gave up his country for their money." I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. And you know, Elon's walking that fine line. If he gets involved in this, he's going to pay a dear price personally. So that'll tell you what kind of man he is or is not. And the trucking industry is going to be flooded with Ukrainians after Trump sells them to Russia. It's already happening. Yeah, it's already flooded with Ukrainians, and Trump wasn't president. So I don't know how that's his fault. We had no dealings with Ukraine prior to this, so I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. Trump won't save anything. You have been conned. I didn't say he was. A person doesn't do that. Policy does that. There's like one person runs everything in the country. Well, no, nobody should be dumb enough to believe that. Feeling like a stock market rally is in order. It can go either way. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. We've been producing more oil under Biden than Trump ever dreamed of. Yeah, I mean, Middle East has been flush with it. It's been great for them. It's been great for them. Uh, Bonehead Truckers guy just released an interesting video about Super Ego trying to buy him off. Yeah, that's I'm not a fan of the company of the Super Ego. Not a fan. Unpopular opinion: Ukrainian men should have stayed and fought for their country. That's a whole thing. Joe Little says, but they don't need the cats. Okay. See, this is where back in the beginning I said I'm not saying anybody talk about this, just policy. Logically, let's go. Remove the hype, your personal feelings, and here's what: inflation doesn't give two shits about what you think about whatever or your feelings. I'm talking about how it happens, what you do to fix it. It doesn't care about Ukrainians. It doesn't care. Like, stop it. Like, for Christ's sake, care less. Like, if you take and you cut interest rates, and money picks up, starts moving, and causes more inflation. It doesn't give a shit what you think about Biden and his oil or Trump and Russia. Stop it. Stop letting them do this to you. Like, this is freaking crazy. And can't even have the conversation without this stuff happening. It's just we're so lost. Um, Adam Bennett, thanks again for his $50 super chat. Appreciate it. FYI, Ukraine is not a country; it's part of Russia. Mm, whatever. I, you know what? I don't, and this isn't towards you, Georgia Patriot. Um, what are we? 25 minutes into this one. We had about half hour into the other one, and it proves my point. And nobody's picked up on that. At least I'm not through all the way through the comments. We sit here, we have multiple comments about Ukraine, about Russia, about Trump, Musk, probably some Pelosi crap in here. Um, why don't we care about freaking Stockton, California? Why don't we care about Oklahoma City? Why don't we care about Chicago, Illinois? That's a freaking war zone. This is what they've taught us. This is what the media has done to us. They tell us what we should care about, and then that's all we should care about. Why don't we care about how this person or that person is going to uh, maybe improve the homeless encampments in San Francisco, which used to be a great American city and now is just a dumpster. Where you have to have poop maps, an app to tell you where all the human poop is on the ground, so you don't step in it. For crying out loud, what the hell are we doing? Um, Toga says, I don't know about the politicians, but Adam gonna save trucking. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm gonna build more parking in BFE, Wyoming. Maybe. Maybe. Greg Zimmer, good morning, DIY. Good morning, Greg Zimmer. I don't want to be a party pooper, but we just elected another geezer into office. Congratulations, I guess. Listen, let's not pretend like one person runs everything around here. They never have, they never will. It's a whole thing that comes with it, right? Democracy is three wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Yeah, that's why we're not supposed to be a democracy. We're the democratic republic. In a democracy, you can have three wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, right? And that sheep is in trouble. Let me explain it to you this way so you can understand the difference. That's what a democracy looks like. Three wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. In a democratic republic, three wolves and a sheep can vote on what's for dinner, but guess what? It's illegal to eat sheep. You understand the difference? A republic protects what's in the minority. And incidentally, so does the Electoral College. Um, Alex says, worth mentioning that the House, Senate, and SCOTUS are all firmly GOP majority. Yeah, I mean, but what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? If you can loosen up the economy, people will go back to eating out more and be able to buy things that need to be transported, creating more need for our services. Exactly. It's about getting money moving again. People are still doing those things, but they don't have much money to do it. If you put money back in their pocket that they have to do with it, then the demand for those goods and services goes up. War orphans, war orphans, I like that. Bring bigger bucks than undocumented immigration. Mm, neck and neck these days, I bet. Put the lawfare dirtbags like Jack Smith, corrupt prosecutors and judges on notice. Tell them to lawyer up. Whoo! Wouldn't that be interesting? Truck drivers need to stand with each other, not against each other. Can't go to the truck stop anymore and talk to anybody. Everyone's too stuck up and worried about themselves. Brian, that's a good point, but apply that to life in general. You can't talk to anybody anymore. Like, we've forgotten freaking how to talk to each other. I am so glad this crap's over. You know what pisses me off? Last night, I had voted earlier. and my wife didn't vote till like 6 p.m. Her phone's blowing up saying, "We noticed you haven't voted yet. You're at this address, and we noticed you haven't voted yet." Nobody should freaking know if you have or have not voted. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. That is dangerous. And I've always been against voter ID, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you can identify who voted, it's a very small step to find out who they voted for. And at that point, then you can politically prosecute them. You don't think it's been done? It's been done everywhere it's ever happened. And we are this close to it. Now, you say, well, I don't want illegals voting. I don't want this voting. I don't want that voting. I don't either. But you know what? If we know they're illegal, we know they're here, then we know who they are and they shouldn't be here. All right. You're punishing the rest of us for something that they have done and allowed to happen. And we have to stop letting that concept go on. We have to stop letting them punish us for things that other people have done. Because if you get to where you find out where people can find out who you voted for, you're going to be in a sad, sad state of affairs. And we're right there. They started sending out letters to different neighborhoods saying, "Hey, you need to get on George down the street at this address because we noticed that he didn't." They'll send out. You can see this for yourself. This is no secret. They'll send out a letter. It'll show the last 5 elections, whether or not that person has voted, or when they did or did not vote, and then they encourage you to go harass this person about you need to go vote. That is unacceptable on every freaking level. And I don't care which sides. I don't care if they're both doing it. It's got to stop. Your mom's favorite railroader. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. President Trump needs to be put to lawfare. Okay, we read that one. Cheap fuel hauler, cheap freight hauler. 2% interest rates and 99% fuel. We were at 2% interest rates. Remember that. 99 cent fuel. We almost got there during the height of COVID. I remember paying $1.12 at one point. Oh no, I did a video. I put gas in my car for 89 cents a gallon. I remember that. See, though, you don't want those dramatic swings. We've all seen the consequences of that. Remember during that when everybody's saying this is the new normal, and I'm like, no, this pendulum is going to swing back hard, and you are going to be sorry. Well, guess what? And now we're living it. We got to stop them drastic pendulums swings. We don't want that because they'll get you back. Problem you pointed out is there are too many people arguing about things they don't know about, arguing about things that don't matter. Well, social media. There you go. Social media gives people that would never in history have had a voice. It gives them a voice as loud as anybody else's. So you're gonna tell me on Twitter you got a Harvard educated heart surgeon, right, who does 10,000 heart surgeries a year, having an argument with little Timmy Smith in his mom's basement playing World of Warcraft, right? And you can't tell which is the difference. Therein lies the problem. I was pointing out the person complaining about Ukraine doesn't even know what they are talking about. Yeah, yeah, but also the point of if the media wasn't telling us and started hyping it up, pretexting a war, most people would have never cared. Uh, that is wild. That is wild DIY. What's wild? What did I say? Anywho, just a short one. So I guess in general, stop letting these people get you hyped up one side or another, and sit down and think things out logically. You're rarely y- you're rarely correct by taking the surface argument for what it's worth. Well, this person's going to fix the economy. Well, that person's going to fix the economy. Well, tell me how. Tell me, oh, I'm going to crack down on price gouging. Well, tell me how you're going to do that. And then I'll tell you the unintended consequences of that and how you're a freaking idiot. And, so lay out your policies. Let's compare them and let's see which is more likely to take us down which road. About them pestering people who haven't voted. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I can prove it. I can show you the text messages. It's got our address. It's got names, and you could go on YouTube and find the people are showing the letters they've gotten about, hey, your neighbor across the street, Bob Smith, they give their name and their address. This is how he didn't vote in the last several elections. That's Orwellian. Oh, I saw it. Did y'all see Elon Musk's latest interview on the Joe Rogan show? Uh, he has this hat. He wasn't wearing it that day. Uh, I got to get one. It says "Make Orwell fiction again," and I'm like, "Oh, that's an awesome hat. I got to have that hat." Sorry, allergies are terrible right now. It's like, yeah, Alex Foley. That's some '84 Big Brother type crap. Yeah, that's some that's some Orwell stuff right there. The truth is stranger than fiction, right? So we need to stop that. We need to stop that. And if you get that stuff in the mail, rather than go harass your neighbor, find out who sent it to you and call them up and harass them. Don't you ever. And if I ever see you disclose my voting record, we're gonna have a problem. Don't worry about what your neighbor's doing. They have the right to do whatever they want. You have the right. If you start harassing them for what they've done or not done, you don't think that's going to someday come back to you? That is that's crazy. People worry about what's going on in the White House more than their own house. You're absolutely correct. We we let them get us, man. We let them get us. We let them teach us what we should and should not care about via the media, mostly via the media. Um, they're pretty good at that, and then they sensationalize these certain topics. Um, you know, we need to teach them what they should care about. Both sides. Um, my bad. They should have stayed fought for the U.S. recognized country that has been since the end of the Soviet Union. Yeah, you know what? The whole Ukraine Russia thing. That's for them to figure out. you know, I don't care. What I care about is like I got like stuff out my driveway that needs to be fixed. I got to freaking pay the bills around here, right? And then once I get all that done, make sure the rest of my family's taken care of and things are good in my community. I saw some homeless people, wandering around in town the other day. Maybe we'll take care of them. I could go 20 miles up the road to the VA or the VFW and see a whole bunch of veterans in there that aren't taken care of. You know, maybe that's on my list of things to do. And then maybe 100 things after that. Then maybe you'll get me to give two shits about Ukraine and Russia, right? And I think that's the way most Americans are starting to feel. But we haven't let them know that. We have to let them know that. So, and then, but here's the thing: don't fall for it the next time. Don't let them convince you about the next godforsaken part of the world that we should care about. Because it's just over. Look back through history, man. One after another, and it don't matter if it's red or if it's blue. Um, it's over and over and over and over again. It was a money laundering scheme to take our money. Yes. So was Iran. So was Iraq. So was Saudi Arabia. So was Uganda, um, Lebanon, one after another, and for my lifetime. Just done with that. Praying for a peaceful transition. We also need to know it takes some time to correct past changes, patience, and blessings. Yes, very good, very good, Arha. Um, very good. I like that. We should all pray for a peaceful transition. We should all pray that um, we can make our own way without their help. Pray for things to be great in your own life with your own family, your own household. Um, if your life was ideal in an ideal situation, nothing anybody ever did in the White House should ever affect you. They don't. They should not have that kind of power. But unfortunately, we're not there. We're not there. So let's talk about your business. Yeah, good transition, cheap freight holic. Should I go buy 10 trailers now? Well, that's something I've been debating on in my head and what I've been doing. I think I've said this before that I'm working on positioning myself for the next internet going down again. No, it's just a matter of when do you think that next turn is going to happen, and what do you think it's going to be. Now, I'm not of the camp that everything is peachy keen and America is going to be, the economy is going to be on fire. I'm not of the opinion Trump is going to fix everything, because in if you're maintaining the integrity of the law and the rules, he can't. Especially fast, very slowly. Things have to change, but they have to. You don't want to just go doing a bunch of willy nilly bullshit. You want the law to be followed, right? Because if you don't, then the next person can do that too. So should I go buy 10 trailers? Did you spend the last 5 years saving up and trying to work out some freight lanes, work out some opportunity uh, positions of where, okay, I'm watching this thing right here, so that when the, like are starting to deal with these people and build a relationship, because I can see, when things were busy last time, they had a lot of freight. I like this freight. When things turn, and they need more trucks, I want to be in the position to be that guy that has these trucks for them. We've kind of trying to been doing that around here and improve our situation, as far as equipment and relationships, so that when that turn comes, I think we're in a pretty decent position there. Only thing I fell short on, and I don't like, is I took on a little bit more debt than I'm comfortable with here in the last few months. But that was, buying some trucks and trailers, and then uh, I got bit by the repair bug pretty bad here lately, so that was a must. That'll wipe out your cash pretty quick. But if you see if you sit down and logically say, if you're saying, "Oh, Trump's going to fix everything, now I'm going to go buy 10 trailers," that no, no. And I know this is just a hypothetical question, cheap freight hauler. I'm just using that as an example. If you can't sit down and talk to yourself and say why, or what exactly the policies that they're going to do that's going to change things, that lead you to believe you should go out and buy more equipment and expand your business, then no. But if you can make yourself believe it by saying, okay, if they're going to reopen oil pipelines and create 50,000 jobs in the oil fields, what I'm just throwing random stuff out there. I don't believe this is going to happen. If you say, um, we're going to uh, near shore jobs again, or we're going to build a wall, we're going to stimulate this part of the economy, we're going to um, stop the destructive policies of certain wars, you know we're going to interest rates are going to come down, which is particularly going to affect this segment of the economy. That's going to start, say, mortgage rates, right? If you're a flatbedder and you said, okay, here's what I want to see happen that's going to change my business, and that is, and I'm just making this up, I want to see mortgage rates come down back to, I don't know, whatever, 3.5, 4%. That's a stretch, right? People will start building again. Businesses will start building again. The housing market, they're going to start building again. That directly uh, improves my business, because I have a lot of work. I haul a lot of shingles. I haul a lot of lumber. I haul a lot. I'm in a dry van business. I haul a lot of carrier furnaces and HVAC products, AC products. Okay. All these things are directly related to what exactly I do for my business. And if you believe that's going to happen, and if you start to see it happen, then yeah, I think then you start making plans to do something like that, of equipment and drivers. But if you can't sit down and exactly map it out, then I say you take a little bit more standoffish. You kind of wait and see, and just keep improving your situation and preparing for that turn that's going to directly affect you. Now we haul a lot of food, okay? In which case I'd have to sit down, and a lot of that food that we haul is imported. Then I'd sit down and say, okay, well, is there going to be new tariffs on this stuff? That could affect us. I have not seen new tariffs proposed on what we do. Um, is are we going to directly stimulate the economy to where people are going to start to eat out more? Mm, maybe. It's too early to tell that. Not a lot is going to change for that to make me make that decision. Right? If it does, we're well positioned. But it's not as specific. Okay, like if you were Landstar or Bennett and you had a lot of RGNs and flatbeds and stuff, and you hauled a lot of military equipment, you would want a Warhawk as president, right? Because you're gonna haul you're gonna haul the hell out of them Humvees and trailers and tanks. A lot of it goes on trains now. But if you need to mobilize quickly for war, and you're Landstar, you're gonna you're gonna kill it. So just try to figure out what that one thing is that changes your business and go from there. But don't just go off a general feeling of, oh, Trump's here, we're all going to be okay. No, because that's not how it works. That's you projecting your feelings on a situation that doesn't give a damn about your feelings. So don't do that. Don't do that. Let's see if I missed any comments here. um, Alex Foley, our infrastructure is aging rapidly. We need to rebuild bridges, refineries, and manufacturing. That's a okay, Alex. Very good. Another example. All right. This infrastructure wasn't really a major talked about issue in this country. All right. So if we see a massive infrastructure bill come out and you got a company with 50 trucks and dump trailers or whatever, you're in the road construction business, and then interest rates get cut to where commercial building starts to happen again, and you have direct relation to those businesses, you might want to start stocking up if you believe that's going to happen. I have no idea. My crystal ball ain't that good. It's not. Uh, I like things to happen slowly. I don't like to have them happen quickly. Usually, things that happen quickly are the bad things. Trucking on the way up. Well, Thanksgiving is coming, so there's that. DIY for FMCSA head. Read this. The head. What about the rest of the body? Um, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Like, remember Jim Trafficant from Ohio, the old truck. He was a truck driver and got. I don't remember if he was a senator or a representative. He got elected to Congress, and he kind of shook things up. And boy, did they like set him up to take a fall. And anytime you take somebody that's just an average person and you throw them in there to shake things up, it really goes haywire. I'd like to see him take an average citizen and throw him in a position like that. I guarantee you some things would get fixed. Like for real, for real. Yeah, we would enforce some rules that aren't being enforced. We'd get rid of some stupid ones and we'd have a few new ones. I'll tell you that. Um, Tolga says, I'm leaving current mortgage rates in here as an example of trust in the market. Deleveraging is the only solution to fix this. Okay, he posted a link to an article. Wonder if he wrote that. I don't know. I think the industry will turn in about another year. The rates will be nice and high. Don't think people need to go and spend money, and for that, wages need to go up. Make your case. Lay out your case for that of what's going to cause that to happen, and then we'll talk. You may convince me, you may not. I think that here's what I think. If you say, Adam, I need a prediction, what's going to happen in trucking in the next year? Well, first we got to get through this Thanksgiving rush so we can see what's real and what's not. Right? Things are moving nice right now for Thanksgiving. My business is booming right now. You got so many freaking loads to cover, but I know it's Thanksgiving freight, right? It's what it is. It's food. Going to Walmart. 4 weeks ago, it wasn't this busy. Now it is. We're what 20 how many days from Thanksgiving? Duh. It's not hard to put two and two together. Let's get through that. Let's get through Christmas. Then we got what 20 some odd days to inauguration. I really don't care. Usually that time between Christmas and the first couple weeks of January are pretty historically slow. Let's see how freight behaves, between let's say between Thanksgiving and January 15th. Okay, I don't think it's going to tank. I think most holiday freight, especially dry freight, has largely already moved. Your shiny trinkets and stuff. So I don't think you're going to have a huge like the last 3 years. You're not going to have a huge Christmas rush, other than food. Perishable. Let's say perishable. We'll see what happens, right? And as things, how do I want to say it? Don't be irresponsible about it. First, I want to make sure we get there to that point in January, right? It's a long ways away. It's a long ways away. Like I said before, the people that didn't want that to happen still don't want that to happen. So let's get there first and pray for everybody's safety, right? I think from that point we start to see some new policies in place, and slowly you say trucking's going to take off, trucking's going to boom. No, I don't think it's going to, and I don't want it to, because this boom bust cycle is just not good. I think it will return to a point where it's feasible to do business again. You won't, and you shouldn't want to see 5, 6, $7 a mile for freight again. Look where that got you this time. It will do the same thing next time. What you want is for the freight market to return to some normalcy, to where it can be business as usual again, to where when you need freight, you can get it, and it's at a marketable rate. Now, when I say a marketable rate, a rate that you can cover your costs and still make a profit. Trucking up till COVID was never a get rich quick scenario. It hopefully will never be again, and it never should be. Because have you not learned what the bus cycle feels like? Come on. Don't set yourself up for another bus cycle with a boom cycle. Let's just steadily do business over time, make a good living, right? I think that's what it's going to be. Uh, what do we? Yeah, that's not good news. Um, I think it'll pick up slowly and steadily over time and return to what I'm hoping for is a friendly business environment. In a friendly business environment, you return to competition. You return uh, to where your skills of running a business are matched against somebody else's. Really, in an environment where you can both succeed, it's just a matter of who's going to do better. Right now, it's cutthroat, right? Um, and to where you can reasonably sustain a business over a long term. This is a normal business market. That's what I want it to go back to. That's what I think it will go back to. You're going to see some up cycles, some boom cycles now and then when businesses really feel like, hey, we're back to spending money. It's time to expand again. It's time to grow again. Um, there'll be some boom that comes along with that. You're going to see some wild times in the housing and construction market uh, at some point here. Who knows when the hell that'll be? And then you'll create your next housing uh, boom bust cycle, right? That's what we do. Create bubbles. That's what we do good, and that's what the Federal Reserve does really well, is make bubbles. So that's what I want. I'm not hoorah about it, not bummer about it. I'm just ho hum. Like it'll go back to a world where you can do business again. That's what I think. If you have to put me on the spot, and is that an exciting answer? Is it probably what you're looking for? Mm-mm. I doubt it, but I really think that's what it's going to be. Trying to time the market before the upswing in rates and trailer prices. So we've talked about that a lot with a couple drivers looking to upgrade equipment and trailers, or trucks, or whatever. They say, are we at the bottom? Is it going to go up? I want to buy before it goes up, but it keeps going down. Listen, you can't do that. Just like you can't perfectly time the stock market. Um, all I'll say is equipment is way closer to zero than it used to be. Like the truck that was $100,000 a couple years ago is now 40. If that ain't good enough, then hey, it's not going to go to zero. They're not going to give them away. So you just got to decide when it's time for you to pull the trigger. If you got the work, it's a great time to buy a truck. If you just decided you're going to live spot market Johnny, Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough way to live. Um, with both feet says I got a plan for through 25, and making that plan had nothing to do with which nut was in the White House. Should be better under Trump, but I would have done it either way. That's the thing. Make your plan. You you design your life. Don't let somebody else tell you design your life for you. Yeah, you make your plan, and then you adapt to the situation around you. Don't let these jokers make your plan. Cheap freight hauler. That's the good thing about reefer trailers. People always got to eat. I don't subscribe to that theory, and I'll tell you why. They do always have to eat, but they don't always have to eat what we haul. Number one. Number two. If it comes down to you know scarcity, the mega reefer haulers are going to get it. And go in a grocery store. Walk around the grocery store. 80% of that store is dry, right? Most of the food in there is dry. So I've kind of been through that. When freight's bad, freight's bad. Remember 2019, just before COVID kicked in, freight was bad. Didn't matter if you had a reefer or a van. Like reefer didn't save you. Um, nothing's going to change between now and January. I mean, the president quit in July. I'm ready for the days I can quote a good rate to the customer and not get my ass handed to me by a broker. That cycle will come again. Stock market going nuts today. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we're up 3.25% on the Dow right now. Dang. Guess they like that. Guess they like that. Um, Chief Trailer says, I know DIY. I just like to poke the bear. Okay. Consider consider the bear poked. Uh, so yeah, that's it. Nothing exciting, nothing dramatic. Just keep your wits about you. I know there's man, everything you see today is just going to be so emotional. Break it down into logic, and then you can't be manipulated. Don't let these people manipulate you. Eh, I know some people are going to see this. Oh, he's all a Trump guy. No, you know what I am? I'm a me guy. I'm an us guy. Like freaking. I'm very aware of the game that they play with us and the manipulation tactics that they do, and I hate it. I don't care which side is doing it, but the facts are the facts, and the facts don't care about your feelings. Interest rates going to do and cause what they do. They don't give a damn which person it is. Inflation uh, is autonomous. It doesn't care who caused it or what. If it's blue or red, uh, those are the kinds of things I care about. It's policy. So let's just make some good decisions there. But I got to get going here. I got freaking loads falling apart. Got 65 emails since it started. Um, so okay, yeah, I got to run here. We'll talk to you later. Thanks, everybody.